All right, everyone. So, to get everyone caught up, first attempt at this, we went live and tried to stream. Thankfully, we didn't get too far. So, here's the situation with Congresswolf. You are working for a politician trying to get reelected, while, lo and behold, a very public scenario is becoming a huge issue, that being the rights of werewolves and their lycanthropy, which is considered in several countries to be an actual disease. The person that hired you for the campaign has been found murdered in their office, and you're not sure what the heck's going on, but if you lose your cool, you could very well cost your politician their spot. So now you got to figure out what's going on. And with that, we should be up to speed. As you step out the door and turn to lock it behind you, you realize that there's no way you're ready to head home. You're still too wound up from everything that's happened. You need someone to talk to until the tightness coiled up in your chest loosens up enough that you can go home and be alone without Maggie's ripped out throat floating behind your eyes and sleep without drinking yourself into a coma. What's the best way to talk out your anxiety? I should try to catch up with Good Penny and get a handle on this job. I just need to talk to a friend. Give Abby a call and see if she's free. If I talk to Thomas a little more, maybe I could get my feelings about werewolves and Maggie sorted out. Or find out more about what happened. I really should stick to the job. Then again, Abby's supposed to be a trusted friend. And Thomas, he has the condition, so if anyone would have the best way of handling this, maybe it would be him. I've already established I'm a workhorse, so let's stick with Good Penny. Good Penny is still outside, talking animatedly on the phone. She gesticulates sharply as if disagreeing with whoever she's talking to. The protesters are packing up their things and loading into a van parked on the corner. As you approach her, Good Penny wraps up her call. "Mr. Torchetti," she says as you approach, "did you need something else?" "I'd like to talk to you about some of my plans for the campaign. I have a number of ideas I'd like to run past you. I'd like to hear what you think about the campaign, your big picture idea of how it should go. I wanted to talk about the kind of campaign Maggie wanted to run." I mean, as much as I'll be directing from behind the scenes, I have to be on the same page with Good Penny. She and Maggie were close friends. Let's see here. I'm going to talk to her. Good Penny smiles. Like any politician, she's always happy to talk about herself. "I leave the nitty-gritty of the campaign to professionals like you," she says. "As I'm sure you know, in my first campaign, I was a massive underdog. No one expected me to present a significant challenge to Steve Nixon, let alone beat him. I know we can't tell that story this time around, but I don't want the voters to see me as some kind of Washington insider. I want them to see that I've retained my independent spirit and my hometown values." It sounds so much like a stump speech that you're struggling not to roll your eyes. You and every other member of Congress, you think. But you keep your feelings about the cliche off your face. I think that's a solid plan, you say. Voters want someone they can identify with. Nobody likes Washington, after all, but everyone wants to feel good about their own congresswoman. Goodpenny beams at you. Exactly, she says. That's exactly what I mean. She gives you a politician's grin, quick and flashy. I'm glad we had this chance to talk. I know today's been hard on you, but I want you to know that you have my full confidence. She turns to leave and you watch her go, wondering how she can be so sure when there's this pit of doubt filling up your stomach. You walk toward 21st and Hornsby, where you're more likely to be able to catch a cab. The sun is still high in the sky, which startles you. You're exhausted enough to have spent a whole day at work. You walk past a construction site, the plywood walls plastered with posters. A few of them are Laxman Nermal. You make a note to send some interns out tomorrow to cover them up with Faith Goodpenny signs. You round a corner and see someone approaching from the other direction. Your heart sinks when you recognize Jude Marvin. A year ahead of you in school, it seemed like everywhere you went and whatever you did, Jude was there first and doing it better. When you agreed to take this job, as happy as you were to be working for Faith Goodpenny, there was one fly in the ointment. The fact that Nermal's campaign is being managed by none other than Jude. Ian Torchetti, Jude says as you approach. I heard what happened to Maggie. It must have been devastating to everyone on the campaign. When you don't stop, Jude tries again. It was a shock to everyone. I'm very sorry. Back in school, you never believed that Jude would do anything unless there was some advantage to be had from it. But college was a long time ago. How do you feel about Jude's sincerity now? Not a chance. Jude's just trying to get under my skin, to rattle me. Jude's always been honest, but optimistic. This is a play for some kind of advantage. Maggie's death really was a shock to everyone. Jude seems genuinely upset. We've never gotten along, but Jude seems truly concerned about me. Maybe it's time to bury the hatchet. Jude was always one ahead of me. Probably rubbed it in my face a few times. Probably took a few good parking spots from me. Last chair at a concert. Best seat in a restaurant. I mean, in this line of work, you have to be opportunistic, no matter how honest you are. Then again, Maggie was one of those that people respected. Then again, death can make very strange bedfellows. But it is an election year. I don't have time for this, you say, and watch as Jude's face falls. Look, I'm sorry to be rude, but I've had a terrible day, and I'm really not up for verbal sparring right now. Of course not, Jude says. Ian, I'm not screwing with you. I just want to say, I'm sorry. You're sure there's an angle in there somewhere, but you're too tired and shell-shocked to see it. I just need to get home and rest, if you don't mind. Jude shrugs and waves at you as you continue down the street. By the time you reach 21st and Hornsby, you're limp with exhaustion. The early afternoon sun paints the city in shades of tired gold. It flashes off the windshield of each passing car with a white jolt that makes you shield your eyes against the onslaught. After all the rain, the scent of sodden garbage is thick in the air. You hang your head as you trudge along the sidewalk toward the busy intersection, wishing you were home already. You pass an overflowing trash can teeming with flies, and pause as you reach the corner. Hell of a first day, you think. But at least it's over. Taking a deep breath, you step off the sidewalk and into the street, raising your arm to hail a cab. On to the second chapter, kids. Dog's dinner. Dawn is just extending its greasy pink fingers over the city skyline when you arrive at the storefront the next day. The tattered ends of the yellow police tape still flutter on the sides of the glass door. You reflect for a second that you're not sure whether the place is still a crime scene or not, but Sergeant Evans didn't tell you to close the office down, so you suppose it's all right. As you step inside, your nose is immediately assaulted by the harsh chemicals used by the cleanup crew you called yesterday afternoon. Still, they were able to come on short notice, and that's what matters. Stepping into Maggie's office is hard. Your brain assaults you with images of yesterday morning. But you push those thoughts away and soldier on. You've got to hit the ground running if you're going to manage this campaign successfully. You've got a laundry list of things to do, and Maggie's death makes all of them even more urgent. What's the most important thing you can be doing for the campaign right now? I need to reassure our biggest supporters. With Maggie's death all over the news, they need to know that this campaign is still on track and deserving of their support and their money. I need to work my media connections. Staying on top of the story about Maggie's death could be make or break for this campaign. I need to figure out our staffing situation. I can't run this campaign single-handed. Work on the budget. I need to understand how much money we have coming in and where it's going. Money is one of the names of the game. But we have to be on top of this. If we play it right, the death will be the driving force to success. But at the end of the day, we're clearly exploiting someone's passing. I mean, no matter what, Maggie's death is being exploited. Whether we talk to the supporters or not, that's going to be the thing they all talk about. Does this mean we're pro or anti-werewolf? So on and so forth. I need to work my media connections. Your phone and email started blowing up with requests for interviews and statements before you got to work this morning. Even though you walked into the office at dawn, you're not sure how this many reporters, TV producers, and talking heads found out you were running the campaign, let alone got a hold of your contact details. They're baying for blood, or at least a statement on the chance to ask some questions. As if you hadn't already known that assuaging the press's concerns was paramount, an email pops up in your box from Abby with the subject line, Presser? I'm doing my best to hold back speculation, but my editor is baying for blood, her email says. Being first on the scene, thanks for that by the way, only gets me so much slack. We need a statement from the Good Penny campaign, and we need it soon. You prepared a statement for the media last night, but you could dedicate additional time to the matter if you want. How much attention do you want to give the media this morning? Look, I have a to-do list a mile long, and dealing with the media could take all day on its own. I'll just email them all the prepared statement. Let's get them all out of the way with a conference call. I'll read them my statement and promise them time for questions later. I'll give out my statement over a conference call, then take a few questions, mostly from reporters I know will be friendly to the campaign. I'll call them back individually. The email would definitely sound disingenuous. We can't afford that right now. conference call, if I read the statement, they can spin that however they want. And we don't need spin going the wrong direction. Either some one-on-one phone calls or the conference call. Do the individual calls. You pour yourself a cup of coffee, sit down and start dialing. Making that many phone calls takes hours, especially since every person you talk to has the same half dozen follow-up questions or wants to schedule an in-depth interview. Your personal touch pays off. Even the big national names are clearly flattered by the individual attention. And several people say how pleased they are that you took the time to call, as busy as they know you must be. By the time you finish, your phone is buzzing with the calendar alert of your next meeting. But you've left a trail of satisfied journalists in your wake and forged the beginnings of a healthy relationship with the people who will be covering the campaign for the rest of the election. But what's the most important thing you can be doing for the campaign right now? Okay. We're back to this. Good. I need to reassure our biggest supporters. With Maggie's death all over the news, they need to know that this campaign is still on track and deserving of their support and their money. Work on the budget. I need to understand how much money we have coming in and where it's going. I need to figure out our staffing situation. I can't run this campaign single-handedly. Let's go with the supporters. Call time is nobody's favorite thing to do, but high-dollar donors expect that personal touch from you and Goodpenny both. You shut the door to the outer office and start dialing. The donors are relieved to hear from someone on the campaign. It's a bit awkward since you have to introduce yourself to all of them, but after a few calls, you get into the swing of it. You're halfway through the list of supporters that you absolutely have to talk to today when you come to Seth Tanner, one of the local scions of wealth and privilege. The Tanner family owns half the shopping malls in the state. And that means when Seth has an opinion, people listen to him. Yes, of course, Mr. Tolchetti, he says when his assistant puts you through. I've been expecting to hear from you. Miss Ramirez's death, a tragedy, an absolute tragedy. You know this script well by now. Yes, we were all shocked and saddened by it, sir, you say. And that's why I'm calling our most important supporters today, to make sure you know that Congresswoman Goodpenny and I are... Yes, of course, he interrupts you. But listen in. Before Ms. Ramirez died, she and I had been corresponding about that so-called jobs bill that the president has put forth. It's very important to me, to the economy of this state, that bill be voted down. And I happen to know that Congresswoman Goodpenny is on the committee considering it. Now, if that bill were to die in committee, I'd venture to say that my economic outlook would be greatly improved. And I'd find myself in a much better position to offer financial support to candidates who share my vision for our economy. Tanner goes on, talking about outside groups and third-party ad buys. He's not even being slightly subtle about the fact that he's offering you a bribe. And he's able to come up with the kind of money that would make a big difference to the campaign. As long as you don't get caught, of course. How do I want to handle him? I believe everybody's got a price, but I can't take a bribe. It's Goodpenny's job to work on behalf of her constituents. I'll talk a good game, but I won't promise him anything. Even appearing to do what he's asking would be a conflict of interest. But I can't afford to offend a major donor like Tanner. I'll pretend I don't know what he's offering and tell him Goodpenny makes her own decisions on votes. I can't believe that he would make an offer like that so blatantly. I'll tell him no, bluntly, and end the call. I know how the game is played, and we can all use the money we can get. I'll tell Tanner it's as good as done. I mean, I have bluffed a little bit already. I've vaguely made promises. But then I've been very definite pro or against as well. For or against, pros and cons. This is actually kind of... Tricky, tricky, tricky. This one's actually going to be kind of tough. So tell you what. How about y'all help me out? I mean, normally I would put up a poll on Facebook or Twitter about this, but these are kind of lengthy and can be misinterpreted. So, tell you what. Pause this. Read them over to yourself. And then tell me 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the comments. And I'll tally them up. And that way next time, when we really are back in the swing of this, we can definitely know where we're going. I mean, this is one of the most dangerous worlds there is. Modern American politics. And as much as we know there are sharks in the water, there might be some wolves in the woods too. So remember to like, share, and subscribe. Ring that bell to stay notified. And once again, please, leave a comment. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Which way am I going with this? As always, I'm Ian Torchetti. And this has been Thorytime Thursday. Hope you all have a good night.